Welcome to Blueprint Viral News. Today we're diving into the latest 338 Canada seat projection as of March 23, 2025. With 172 seats needed for a majority, let's break down the numbers and see where the major parties stand in the race for power. At the national level, the Liberal Party of Canada (LPC) is currently projected to win 178 seats, putting them above the majority mark, with a range between 150 to 203 seats. The Conservative Party of Canada (CPC) follows with 131 seats, ranging between 105 to 157. The Bloc Québécois is expected to secure 25 seats, with a possible range of 20 to 33. The New Democratic Party, NDP, lags behind at 7 seats, with a range between 2 and 13. And finally, the Green Party of Canada (GPC) is projected to win 2 seats, with a possible range of 0 to 3. Regional breakdown. Atlantic Canada, 32 seats. The Liberals dominate Atlantic Canada with 27 seats in the projection, ranging from 23 to 31. The Conservatives hold 5 seats, but that could drop to 1 or go as high as 9. The NDP and Greens are currently not projected to win any seats here. Quebec, 78 seats. In Quebec, the Liberals lead with 39 seats, ranging from 33 to 44. The Bloc Québécois, a major player in the province, follows with 25 seats, with potential gains up to 33 or a low of 20. The Conservatives stand at 13 seats, with a range between 10 to 15. The NDP has just 1 seat with no gains or losses projected. The Greens are not expected to secure a seat here. Ontario, 122 seats. In the political battleground of Ontario, the Liberals hold a strong lead with 78 seats, ranging from 61 to 88. The Conservatives follow with 40 seats, but their range shows potential growth, going up to 56 or dropping to 31. The NDP is struggling with just 3 seats, ranging between 0 and 5. The Greens could secure 1 seat, but may also win none. Prairies, 28 seats. In Manitoba and Saskatchewan, the Conservatives dominate with 20 seats, ranging between 17 and 21. The Liberals hold 8 seats with possible gains up to 11 or a low of 6. The NDP could grab up to 3 seats, but could also be shut out entirely. No Green Party presence is projected here. Alberta, 37 seats. Moving to Alberta, the Conservatives maintain their stronghold with 31 seats, ranging between 24 and 35. The Liberals are projected to take 5 seats, but their numbers could range from 1 to 11. The NDP is in contention for just 1 seat, with a maximum of 2. Once again, the Greens have no presence in this region. British Columbia, 43 seats. Out west in British Columbia, the Conservatives lead with 22 seats, ranging between 17 and 26. The Liberals follow closely with 19 seats, potentially going as low as 15 or as high as 25. The NDP is projected to win just 1 seat with a possibility of 2. The Greens may win 1 seat but could also be left out. Territories, 3 seats. In the Northern Territories, the Liberals are projected to take 2 seats but could win all 3 or drop to 1. The NDP is expected to take 1 seat, though they may lose it. The Conservatives have a slim chance at winning a single seat here, and once again the Greens have no projected wins in this region. The latest 338 Canada federal vote projection for the national popular vote shows a tight race between the Liberal Party, LPC, and the Conservative Party, CPC. The Liberals are currently leading with 39% support, but with a 4% margin of error. Their actual support could be between 35% and 43%. The Conservatives are close behind at 37%, also with a 4% margin of error, meaning their real support ranges from 33% to 41%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, stands at 11%, with a 2% margin of error, placing their actual support between 9% and 13%. The Bloc Québécois, BQ, which only runs candidates in Quebec, is at 7% nationally, with a 1% margin of error, suggesting their real support could be anywhere from 6% to 8%. Finally, the Green Party, GPC, is polling at 4% with a 2% margin of error, meaning their true support lies between 2% and 6%. With the margins this close, the race for Canada's next government remains highly competitive. As of March 23, 2025, the latest 338 Canada federal vote projection for Atlantic Canada shows the Liberal Party, LPC, leading with 53% support, but with a margin of error of 7%. Their actual support could range between 46% and 60%. The Conservative Party, CPC, follows at 32%, with a 6% margin of error, meaning their real support could be anywhere between 26% and 38%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, is at 10%, with a 3% margin of error, so their support could be as low as 7% or as high as 13%. Notably, they are showing an upward trend. Finally, the Green Party, GPC, is polling at 4% with a 2% margin of error, placing their true support between 2% and 6%. These numbers reflect the latest trends in Atlantic Canada, but with the election approaching, shifts are still possible. As of March 23, 2025, the latest 338 Canada vote projection for Quebec shows the Liberal Party, LPC, leading with 36% support. However, with a 5% margin of error, their actual support could range between 31% and 41%. The Bloc Québécois, BQ, follows at 28% with a 4% margin of error, meaning their real support could be anywhere between 24% and 32%. The Conservative Party, CPC, is polling at 23%, also with a 4% margin of error, putting their true support between 19% and 27%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, is at 7%, with a 3% margin of error, so their support could be as low as 4% or as high as 10%. Finally, the Green Party, GPC, is sitting at 3% with a 2% margin of error, meaning their actual support could range from 1% to 5%. These numbers highlight the current electoral landscape in Quebec, but with the election still ahead, shifts remain possible. As of March 23, 2025, the latest 338 Canada vote projection for Ontario shows the Liberal Party, LPC, leading with 43% support. However, with a 6% margin of error, their actual support could range from 37% to 49%. The Conservative Party, CPC, follows closely at 39%, also with a 6% margin of error, meaning their true support could be anywhere between 33% and 45%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, is polling at 11% with a 3% margin of error, so their support could be as low as 8% or as high as 14%. The Green Party, GP, stands at 4% with a 3% margin of error, putting their real support between 1% and 7%. Finally, the People's Party of Canada is at 3%, also with a 3% margin of error, meaning their actual support could range from 0% to 6%. With a close Liberal-Conservative battle in Ontario, these numbers suggest a highly competitive race as the election draws near. As of March 23, 2025, the latest 338 Canada vote projection for the Prairies shows the Conservative Party, CPC, leading with 49% support. However, with a 6% margin of error, their actual support could range from 43% to 55%. The Liberal Party, LPC, follows at 32%, with a 5% margin of error, meaning their real support could be anywhere between 27% and 37%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, is polling at 13%, with a 4% margin of error, putting their true support between 9% and 17%. Finally, the Green Party, GPC, stands at 3%, with a 2% margin of error, meaning their actual support could range from 1% to 5%. These numbers highlight the CPC's strong lead in the Prairies, but with shifting political dynamics, further changes remain possible. As of March 23, 2025, the latest 338 Canada vote projection for Alberta shows the Conservative Party, CPC, maintaining a strong lead with 54% support. However, with a 6% margin of error, their actual support could range between 48% and 60%. The Liberal Party, LPC, follows at 28% with a 5% margin of error, meaning their real support could be anywhere between 23% and 33%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, is polling at 12% with a 3% margin of error, putting their true support between 9% and 15%. With Alberta remaining a Conservative stronghold, these numbers indicate a solid CPC advantage, though the Liberal and NDP vote shares could still shift before the election. The latest 338 Canada vote projection for British Columbia shows a tight race between the Conservative Party, CPC, and the Liberal Party, LPC. The CPC is leading with 41% support, but with a 6% margin of error, their actual support could range between 35% and 47%. The LPC follows closely at 37%, also with a 6% margin of error, meaning their true support could be anywhere between 31% and 43%. The New Democratic Party, NDP, is at 15%, with a 4% margin of error, putting their real support between 11% and 19%. Finally, the Green Party, GPC, stands at 5% with a 3% margin of error, meaning their actual support could range from 2% to 8%. With the CPC and LPC in a close contest, British Columbia remains a key battleground heading into the election. The latest 338 Canada vote projection for the territories shows the Liberal Party, LPC, leading with 43% support. However, with a 9% margin of error, their actual support could range between 34% and 52%. Notably, the LPC is trending upward. The Conservative Party, CPC, follows at 28% with an 8% margin of error, meaning their true support could be anywhere between 20% and 36%. The CPC is showing a downward trend. The New Democratic Party, NDP, stands at 22% with a 7% margin of error, putting their real support between 15% and 29%. Finally, the Green Party, GPC, is at 6% with a 5% margin of error, meaning their actual support could range from 1% to 11%. With large margins of error in the territories, shifts remain possible, but the LPC is currently holding the advantage. Stay updated with the latest projections and trends leading up to the election. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more insights and in-depth analysis. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.